Alright, we have an assignment here. It is a while loop. We're making a while loop, and with our while loop we're going to figure out how lunch money works, or some type of an item shop if you'd like to use different variables. Let's read the instructions. It says, let's make a simple function that calculates the money you are spending. Create a while loop that will allow you to spend a given amount of money until it is all gone. The items purchased should be stored into a list and then printed out at the end. You'll need to create the items and their price tags, and you'll also choose a starting amount of money. The person should be able to buy at least 3 items. Okay, so let's start off by making some items up for ourselves. So I'm going to do food, so I'm going to say apples. And those are going to cost 50 cents. I'm also going to say ice cream. Oops. Ice cream. That's going to cost $1. Pizza. That's gonna be $2.50. A burger. That's going to be $3. $2.25. Chips. Chips will be 75 cents, and then I'll also do one more. Oh, water. The water is going to be $1. Okay, so I have some items here for my shop, and I'm also going to give them some money. This is how much money they have to spend, and I'm going to give them $5. I think you can get 3 items out of that with $5. And I'm going to make a variable. This variable is going to be called buying. And I'm going to set buying equal to true to start out with. You can see that this is correct, or that I typed it correctly because it turned blue. It's a Boolean value, so it can be on or off, or true or false. And this is going to decide, are we still buying stuff? So we're going to make a loop, and we're going to get in and out of this loop by turning on or off our buying function by saying true or false. So to start this loop off, I'm going to say while buying is true, I want you to do the stuff that's inside of this loop. So this just basically says stay in the loop while buying is true. Okay. Let's make a little menu for ourselves. We want to know how much money do we have to start with, so we're going to say money, and then we're going to print out how much money we have. We're just going to say money. It's going to tell us how much money we have. Money's going to tell us that. And then I'm also going to make a simple menu here. I'm going to start out my menu with some stars so I can see when the starting of the menu is, and then the ending of the menu as well. And all my items are going to go in between. My first item is going to be apples, and they are going to cost 50 cents. Now I could type 50 cents like this, or I can use the actual variable here, so I don't have to make changes if I decide to change the prices on my items. So I'm going to use the variable. It'll help me for later on. It says you don't want to make a change up here and then have to go all the way down through your code and change it in a bunch of different places. Alright, so I have my apples, then I'm going to have ice cream, and just like I did the other one, I am going to use the variable to decide how much this is going to cost. And I'm going to do this again. Pizza. My pizza costs pizza. Burger. I can probably copy and paste some of this. Oops. Seems like I'm doing kind of the same thing over and over. We have burger. And then we're also going to put that here. And chips. And then finally the water. Alright, so we got our menu pretty well done. Remember, I was telling you that you'll stay inside of the loop as long as buying is true. We start buying out true right here. So that means we're in the loop. We're going to be inside of this loop. So we need a way out. So I'm going to just put, buying. We need a way out. So actually, you know what? Let's stop the input first. So if we, let's just play this. Let's play this and see what happens. Oof, I got an error. Line 19. While buying, oh, I didn't capitalize my true here. Let's try this again. Let's see what happens. If we just run this, we're not out of the function. We can't get out of it, so it just keeps spinning through the menu and keeps printing it over and over and over. We can use the input function here as kind of like a pause. And this is going to say press any key to continue. Actually, press enter to continue. Press enter to continue. And we're using this input as like a pause. This pauses and waits for an input. Okay, so you saw earlier when I ran it, it just kept spinning through the input. Now it kept spinning through the console, kept printing this out over and over. If we use input, it's going to stop the program and it's going to wait for the user to give us some input. So if we hit run, it's only going to print the menu, and then it says press enter to continue. So if I press enter again, it prints it out again and continues because it's still stuck in that loop. So if I just keep pressing enter, it'll keep printing it out. Okay. So we need a way out of the loop. We've got a lot of stuff to build here, but we've got our menu, we've got this going. So we're going to need to ask the person a question. We want to go, would you like to purchase something? Would you like to stay in the loop, basically? So I'm going to say, I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to say answer is equal to whatever the person inputs here. As of right now, it just says press any key to continue. Let's change that. Let's say, would you like to purchase something? And then you need to tell them how should they answer, because they could say yes, they could say all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to say Y or N. So the person can either say yes or no. If the person says yes, if answer is equal to Y, then I'm going to keep buying as true. Buying is going to stay true. Otherwise, that means they said no or something else. I want to make buying false or no, or buying is equal to false. Okay, so we have our menu. We can print it out. Whenever we print it out, it's going to ask us a question. Would you like to purchase something, yes or no. And then if you say yes, it's going to make buying true. If you say no, it's going to make buying false. So let's try this. So we can run this. I need to clear this screen. Let's run this again. So there's our money at the top, our items that we want to purchase, and it says, would you like to purchase something? If I say yes, I'm going to stay in the loop. If I say no, it's going to end and I'm going to get kicked out of the loop. So it's functioning like we want it to. We're going to have another issue here. So if I keep running through my list and I keep purchasing things, it's filling up my screen very quickly, and this is very confusing. I don't know, how much money it is, and it's a mess. So we're going to make it where we clear the console every time we go through the menu. In order to do that, we're going to need an extra function. So we're going to import a function called REPL repellent. And this function, what it does is it gives us an option. It gives us the option to do some more functions that are not built in. So this says import the replet function, and it will give us the option to clear the console with replet.clear. So every time we run through this menu, we want to clear whatever's on the screen so we can reprint the stuff back out. So I'm going to add that right here. I'm going to say replet.clear. Now when we run our function again, instead of it just printing out all this mess every single time, it's going to ask us if we'd like to buy something. If we say yes, it clears the screen and puts everything back so that we don't have a bunch of stuff on the screen all the time. So it doesn't matter how many times I push yes. Now we have another issue here that we can deal with. If you say yes, it works, but what if you type the word yes? It kicks you out. That's because you only handle one instance here. You only handle the lowercase y. I want to handle a couple other cases, so I'm going to say answer is equal to capital Y, and then you could also do answer is also equal to if somebody typed out the full word yes. And then you could also do one more, like maybe if they did all lowercase, answer is equal to all lowercase yes. Alright, there's lots of things they could say, lots of different ways they could say they want to be in there. Generally, you want to give them like a template to say yes or no to the questions. And then there's also lots of other ways you can handle it. Like you could run a lowercase function on this, and then it would always make it lowercase. But I like showing you guys different ways to handle problems, and this is one way you could physically write all the different ways to say yes. So if you run this program again, when it goes through, it's going to say, would you like to purchase something? And now I can say yes, or I can say capital yes, or I can say Y or capital Y. All those will work. If I say something like hippo, it doesn't understand that, and then the program cancels itself and quits. Okay, now we also need to ask it. Right now we're asking them, would you like to buy something? They're saying yes. Now we need to ask them, well, what would you like to purchase? So I'm going to put, let's ask another question. Let's say input, what would you like to buy? Okay, now we have lots of different things here, lots of different options. And just like we dealt with the yes or no here, we said yes, why. There's a lot of different things. They could misspell apples, they could misspell ice cream or capitalize. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 1 through 5. This is or 1 through however many options we have, so like 1 through 6. So It's kind of like going through a drive-through. You say I want a number 1 or I want a number 2. This gives us the option, gives the user the option of using a number instead of typing out I would like a bag of chips and a water, etc. I think I hit the wrong button on that last one, so I have to fix it. Okay, so if somebody wants to order something now, they're just going to say they're gonna use the number 1 through 6, and we're going to store this into, I guess we could technically store it into answer again if we wanted to, or yeah, we can just use, I think we can use answer again. Let's use answer. Okay, so first it asks, would you like to buy something? It's going to say yes or no. Then you're asking them another question, and we'll store it into answer as well. And then we'll check to see what did they answer. If answer is equal to, and we can know that it's going to be 1 through 5. If it's 1, we know they want to purchase an apple. And to make it simple to start with, we're just going to say you purchased an apple. Alright. And then you can do this with the rest of these items as well. So you can say purchased an apple, and then you purchased a pizza, and so on and so forth. You can do that with all these options. So I'm going to copy and paste. And you need to pay attention to your spacing in this, or your indentation level. That's going to be one of the hardest things you have to deal with in this whole thing. So here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one more, 6. So now I have 6 options. You purchased an apple, then they purchased ice cream, and then they purchased pizza. Phone keeps making noise. That's annoying. Pizza, a burger, chips, and finally the water. Alright. Now, I have if statements for each one of these. I don't want to use an if statement because otherwise, or for every single one. I only want to use it for the first one. For each one after that, I want to use elif. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want it to check every single one. Once it finds the one that matches, I want it to stop looking. So if this is true, it won't check any of the other ones. Else, if this is true, it won't check any of the other ones. And then finally, if they don't put one of these options for any of them, then that falls under the case of else. So if this is true, then good. And if they don't match any of these, if they put something crazy in there like hippo again, then they fall under the case of the very last one. And that's going to say, I am sorry, but this, but, and then if I can actually use comma answer is not a valid response. Okay, so let's see what we've made here. Let's see if we got any problems yet. So I'm going to run this. It's asked me questions. Would I like to buy something? I'm going to say yeah. What would you like to buy? I'm going to say 1. And it ran through the program without telling me anything. Let's see if we can make it where it waits for us. Okay, so we need to add a little pause here so we can see. So let's say input. We'll say press enter to continue. Alright, that's going to give us the option to see what we actually purchase. Yes, I'd like to purchase something. And a number 1. You purchased an apple. And I can press continue. Yes. 2. You purchased an ice cream. And it's just going to keep asking us. Now, if they purchase something not on the list, like a hippo or something crazy, I'm sorry, but a hippo is not a valid response. Cool. Works. Awesome. Let's leave all this. This looks great. Now, let's make it where we can actually give the person the object so they can see all the things that they've purchased. And let's make the things actually cost money and update the money here. So at the top, I'm going to create a list, and this is going to be my cart. Inside the cart, I'm going to create a list, and my list is empty. Items purchased. And they're going to get stored into cart. Alright, so did the person order something? I'm going to spread this out here so we can work on the first one first. We're going to make the first answer work properly, and then we'll move to the rest of the stuff. So if they push the 1 button, then we need to take some money from them. So we're going to do money. So is that what we used here? Yes, we said money. So we're going to say money minus equals, and we're taking away from them some amount of money. The amount of money we're going to remove from them is whichever item they purchased from. So apples, 50 cents. So I could type 50 cents, but again, if I make a change up here, then I'd have to go back down into my program and make that change there too. So I'm going to say apple instead of typing the number. So if they push 1, it needs to take some money from them, and then it needs to give them the apple. So I'm going to say cart dot append, which is how we add things to a list, and I'm going to give them an apple. So I don't need to print this out anymore. I just need to say give them the apple. So if you push 1, takes money from them, gives them an apple. Let's test it right quick just to see what it looks like. I don't know why it always does that. So let's clear this and run. So would you like to purchase something? Yes, I'd like to purchase an apple. Looks like I spelt something or did something wrong. Is it apples? It's with an S. So I'm going to put an S on the end here. Let's run this again. Yes. And it says press any key to continue, but it doesn't tell us that we actually purchased something. So let's scroll down here, and right before it says press a key to continue, let's actually tell them what's in their shopping cart. So I'm going to say this is your shopping cart. Or, well, I'm going to say this is what you have purchased so far. And then on the next line, I'm going to do a different line. So I'm going to say print, and I'm going to say cart. So it should print out what I put in the cart. Oh, it's a lowercase c here. This is what you have purchased so far, and then print out the variable cart. Let's try and run our program again. Apples, ice cream. Would you like to buy something? Yeah. I've only programmed apples, so let's push 1 for apples. And it says, this is what you have purchased so far. And it says apple. If I push continue, you'll see that now, when I see the list again, my money is updated. And if I purchase something else, if I purchase another apple, it now says you have 2 apples in your cart. And I push enter, and it updates my list. Now, we're going to run into a problem if I continue to purchase apples. Eventually, I'm going to run out of money, and I'm not going to be able to purchase any more apples. Well, let's see what happens when we get there. One more. Oof. Let's try this again. Yes, 1. Okay, so I've purchased a bunch of apples, and I now have no more money. So we all know how that works. If you have no more money, you shouldn't be able to purchase anything else. But if I do it, I go ahead and say I want to buy one, it gives me the apple, and now my money is negative. So we need to adjust our code to where it can handle a negative situation. So not only do we need to know if the person wants to purchase an apple, we need to know, does the person have enough money? So we're going to say if they have more than or equal to the amount of money it costs to purchase an apple, then I want to purchase the apple. So it checks, do they have enough money to start with? If they do, then purchase the apple. And then we're going to add another statement here. Else, that means they don't have enough money, so we're going to print, I'm sorry, but you don't have enough money. And that's basically it, I think. Let's try and run it again. I'm going to turn up the amount of the price on an apple, so now it's $2.50, so we can test this more quickly. So let's run this. An apple is now $2.50. Would you like to buy something? Yeah, I want to buy an apple. Okay. And I'll buy another apple. And now I don't have enough money, but I still want to buy an apple. And now it says, I'm sorry, but you don't have enough money. This is what you've purchased so far. And it shows 2 apples, and I'm out of money. So that worked. We didn't go negative anymore. We have the correct amount of items. And this is basically the end of what we need to do. The hardest part on this assignment now is going to be actually filling in the rest of this stuff and checking your spacing. A really good way to do that is to hide them after you're done, or and check and just slowly go through the process. So I can hide this. Everything that's a part of this if statement can be hidden by hitting this plus sign. Everything a part of this else statement can be hidden by hitting this. So if you have something out of place, for example, if you put too many tabs on this, when I try to run my program, it's going to look like it works. I'm going to hit yes. It looks like it still works with under that. Let me rerun that. Let's see if it works. It might work, but it might not. Let's see. Yep, it still works. Okay, so you will run into a case where you have spacing errors. There we go. That's gonna give me an error. It's gonna say, I'm sorry, but we have an unexpected indent error. And then it tells me line 35. So my problem is right here. I did not put this print statement with the else statement. And you'll notice that because I can't hide it. To find the correct spacing, you click at the end, press enter, and then that's where it needs to go to be properly inside of this else statement. So I'll put it right there. So watch your spacing. I'm going to do one more of these just so we can have it for good measure. And how I'm going to do this is I'm going to space it out just a little bit. And then I'm going to do, let's just start the whole process over. So if they push the number 2, if they have enough money, they have to have greater than or equal to the amount of money for ice cream. If they have enough money, we want to take their money minus equals ice cream. Again, ice cream is the cost for how much the ice cream costs. And I'm going to make sure my variable's spelled correctly. It is. And then I'm going to give them the ice cream. I'm going to say cart.append. And what am I giving them? I'm going to give them an ice cream. And then otherwise, so this is the case where if they have enough money, if they don't have enough money, which would fall under else, I'm going to print out, sorry, but you don't have enough money. I can just copy this right here. I'm sorry, but you do not have enough money. Let's make some comments here just so you can see. Did they choose this option? And then we could say, do they have enough money? Then we can say, take their money. And then we could say, give them the item. And then this response is, we'll put that up here. If they don't have enough money, tell them they don't have enough money. Alright, so that's how this one is going to work. Only my first two are going to work. I haven't programmed all of them, but you should have the general idea how to do that. So if I run my program, it gives me my list here, and I say I want to purchase something. What would I like to buy? Let's buy an apple. This is what you've purchased, and now my money has changed. And now would I like to buy something else? Yeah, I'll buy an ice cream, which is number 2. It says this is what you've purchased so far, an apple and ice cream, and then if I push enter, it updates the money at the top. Alright, that's all we have for today. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.